This week, we zoom into the ever-futuristic world of the Cybertruck. Did its electric muscle win me over, or was it the thrill of full self-driving that sealed the deal? Meanwhile, AI is stepping into the ring with snake Venom, delivering antidotes with machine learning precision. Could this breakthrough save lives or even pave the way to designer superhumans? And here's the DNA dilemma. As we go from curing deadly diseases to engineering the perfect genetics, are we cruising towards a world where your wallet decides your genes? Dollar-driven eugenics. Plus, we're dipping into the clone zone. Could there already be a secret lab with your double? And just how much does a second you cost? Strap yourself in for another mind-bending adventure. Keep your virtual and physical ears on high alert. This is one podcast ride that you won't want to miss because you are listening to...
They might be self-aware.
In keeping with my really appreciating visual gags on a primarily audio medium, Hunter, I have a question for you. For those of you listening at home, I'm holding up a question mark, like the blocks from Mario. I have a mug that looks like that, and I think this is an extremely clever way to start off an episode. Let us know in the comments if you agree with me. I'm sure you do, but, let us know. Hunter, I have a question for you.
Okay.
How's that Cybertruck treating you?
Oh, the Cybertruck. I forgot. Yeah, I do have a Cybertruck. It's true.
Wait, are you not driving it?
No. It's still pretty great.
Okay, good. Oh, good.
Yeah. Let's see. Racking my mind here. It's yeah. So I don't have a lot to compare it to. Like, I don't know what the comparables are. The comparable to my previous state of being is great. Like it's made a significant improvement. But
I think you said you didn't have like Bluetooth in your previous car. Right?
That is technically accurate.
Right.
I have two other vehicles. One is from 2009 and the other is from 1995. So the technology, I guess my car technology severely lags behind my desktop and mobile technology.
I am kind of interested.
Or at least it did.
I would have expected this not to have been your first electric vehicle, but maybe there's something about the Cybertruck that appeals to people where they weren't electric vehicle owners previously, but now they are. Is that? I mean, like it literally is something that you did. You weren't an electric vehicle owner before.
It's true.
Whereas I've now had this, I'm on my third. I had a Chevy Bolt and then Model 3, and now I'm on the Rivian. And so I can compare one electric vehicle to another. Oh, this one has this feature. This one doesn't have that. But like, what was it that attracted you to that in the first place? Were you always interested in doing truck things, but they were too smooth of vehicles? Was it that you wanted to get into electric, but the form factor was never there? Because there wasn't like a truck form factor that you could really get into before. What was the combination of flavors? Oh boy. Of features that brought you in that sort of direction?
It really was the full self-driving, supervised, of course, supervised full self-driving. That was what I wanted to experience and be a part of and understand how good and or bad it was. The electric component of it was entirely secondary. I think I've come to really enjoy the electric component of it. And embrace it, and I can easily imagine that from here forward there is always an electric vehicle in the lineup. But that was not the draw at all. It was the full self-driving.
But you could have saved a lot of money and gotten a Model 3.
Yeah, but we've talked about this. Hunter just looks. What's the one I have to call to get the pricing? That's
Right.
my kind of default. I start there.
Right. Do you think they're going to put that expensive OpenAI subscription into a Tesla? Would that be just a match made in heaven?
No, I don't think. First of all, yes, it would be a match made in heaven, but no, I don't think they would, because Elon has his XAI, I believe, what they call it, and
Grok with a K.
Yeah, it is competitive with OpenAI. Not to mention, he kind of hates. He hates Sam. I think he hates Sam. He certainly sued him enough to suggest that he hates him. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe it's all just business. But
no, that's a very good point. Okay, well, how about this? The follow up then becomes, how long before? Because I think like Google, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay,
right.
Every manufacturer that refuses to play nicely with them as well seems to have some sort of like, we do have a voice recognizing system in here. You can just talk hands free, which is good because, you know, it's less time on the phone looking down. How long before the Cybertruck and the Model 3 and X and S and so on, before there is a large language model either on them or it's a cloud, maybe subscription based thing? You know, over Starlink even. I don't know. Because I think the trucks have Starlink in them. Is that right?
The trucks do not have Starlink in them. I do have Starlink. Okay. It is still in the box, but I have this like backhaul of gadgets to investigate. I have Starlink. It's in the box. They sell a bracket so that you can mount it in the truck. But the truck itself does not come with Starlink. Did you get it
for the truck? Like the idea being, I'm going to go off into the boonies and be able to record the podcast from there.
That was definitely a use case that I considered. But just in general, yeah. So I could go up I live in North Carolina. You can go up into the mountains. Just the concept that I could go out there and always have good bandwidth appealed to me. And I also just, again, something I want to explore and understand, what is the current state of, I guess, satellite internet. Sure. It seems like it's made a significant increase over recent. I have tried it before. The last time I tried it, it was so you still connected to your uplink over dial-up. So this is like dial-up modems, you know.
Yeah.
Your uplink was all over a dial-up modem, and then the downlink came over satellite. After a like very noticeable delay, you would request something, send it up, and then you'd wait, and then the satellite would send it back down. So it's really
just a long string with tin cans on either end.
Pretty much.
Space. Yeah, that's the first space elevator. It's just really bad internet. Okay, so back to the truck. How are you liking the self-driving? Because I got a go at it when Musk made it semi-available to everybody for like a month a while back. I was concerned. I've talked about this in a previous episode, but basically I was constantly having to, highway or not, turn it off for my own safety. How are you enjoying it?
So I use it 99.
And this is FSD, not auto steer, which is
That's
the
correct.
Keeps lanes on highways.
That's correct.
Stuff. Yeah.
This is leaving my driveway to the parking lot of wherever I'm going, which often doesn't involve a highway. So it has, I use it 99+% of the time, almost all the time when it's out driving. It's just on FSD. I'm not doing anything. It has improved significantly since I first got the truck, and I've had the truck now for, I think I got it in November. So like, we're not talking a long time, 2 to 3 months. The biggest change came, so they finished the first version of their model that was trained in that new data center that they built with all of the NVIDIA GPUs.
Right.
And conceptually, this was their first, what they call end-to-end model, where they're just taking the video feeds as the inputs and going straight to how should the car steer. Whereas previously there were multiple systems, one to basically interpret that video, which then generated what you see on the display in there. It's sort of representation of the world. And then there was another model to figure out, okay, now that I have this representation of the world, how do I navigate this world? But sort of bypassing all of that and just going like, here's the video, what's the driving direction? So this is
ostensibly closer to how we would see it, which is we get visual input and sound, I guess, and dare I even say smell, and then make our adjustments based on that.
Yes. So they released that, which was full self-driving version 13, and then there's several dot releases, but moving from 12 to 13. And I definitely felt a difference there. So I definitely had issues of it running stop signs fairly regularly. And it would never, before that, it rarely would slow down for a yellow light, including if the yellow light turned red before it went through it. Like, it's just like yellow. Nope. That's might as well be green. So that update, it kind of solved those two issues. And then there's been another update since then for the Cybertrucks, which introduced driving profiles. And now I can select a driving profile that's very aggressive. They call it Hurry Up, I believe is the name. But
that's the one that the insurance companies are like really dinging people on because it's
and it models how I actually drive. So
so you have a Hurry Up profile on your foot, is what you're saying.
I do.
Yeah.
That said, I mean, I don't. By the way, man, does it like to speed. And they suggest, so when it's in full self-driving mode, it can decide, again, how fast does it want to go. And they suggest that you allow it to go up to 40% above the speed limit.
40%?
That is their suggestion, like in the documentation, in the interface. And I'm like, geez, guys.
I'm in a school zone. Might as well be
might as well do doing 70. Yeah.
Woo! I do remember a setting while I still have the Tesla of like, if there's a speed limit and you have the auto steer on, how fast can you let it go? And I think there was like a percentage, but I just had it plus 4 miles per hour because many years ago I was told cops will get you if you're going 5 or more over. So I said, all right, plus 4 it is.
Yes.
But you're saying plus 40%.
40%.
I'm in a 70 and I'm going,
you'll be doing 100, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't even tried that. Again, they say like, oh, you'll get the best results if you set it this, but I don't understand. And it's like, don't worry, we're not actually going to go 100. But why do you need me to tell you that you can go 100 if you're not going to go 100? Like,
I won't go 100. I just want to know that I could.
Yes. If I only could know that I could drive so much better for you.
Well, we talked about aligning like large language models and trying to like force them to not even think in certain lines. Maybe you're saying that you just have to free the car and say like, look, I know the rules of the road say this is a school zone, but like go as fast as you need to, man. And like, does that really make the car do better? You're saying that they say
it does
do better.
I still haven't
to know it could floor it whenever it feels like it.
Because when it's not, I've seen it speed a lot, like and speed to amounts that I'm very uncomfortable with it going that fast.
Okay.
Not from a safety perspective so much as a ticketing perspective. I don't want a ticket.
Sure. And you certainly stand out on the road.
Yeah, I lock it down. So it's gotten much better, and 99% of the time, no issues. And just as a recent example, this last weekend, I decided that I want to go to Raleigh, North Carolina, to see a movie at the Alamo Draft House. That's about 2 hours away from me. Well, a heck of a drive to go see a movie. But just got in the car in my driveway, typed in Alamo Draft House, hit the button to start. It drove the entire way there, 0 disengagements. And it is like, it is far more, at least for me, I don't know, it's far more relaxing when the car is just driving itself and I can think about other things. I can work on work stuff that like I was not able to do before. And you do have to keep your eyes on the road. It is supervised, and they yell at you super quickly if you stop.
It has a little camera in there to like check that you're looking, right?
Yes, you are being recorded inside of your car all the time. In theory, that footage doesn't leave your car, but it is indeed stored in your car.
Yeah.
And maybe a few other things.
So you alluded to something there that I very much experienced in the Tesla and have some in the Rivian, and I guess also in the Bolt, which is, oh no, the Bolt didn't have self-driving. Never mind. It's the best time to have autonomous driving is when there's nobody on the road in front of you and the car can just keep the lane for you and you're not having to spend as much mental overhead like just keeping to the lane, or when there's a ton of traffic and it's stop and go and you just let the car inch you forward. if there's some traffic, I feel like I have to pay exactly as much attention as I would have been paying otherwise. If there's nobody around, or there's a gajillion people around and I can't go anywhere anyways, those are the perfect times for the autonomous drive, self-driving, full self-driving, auto steer, whatever, because like they're good at I'll inch the car forward for you while you just sit here like a sardine in a can waiting to get to your workplace or the Alamo or whatever. I want more people to get that feeling, because the first time I got that feeling, it was freeing. I literally thought to myself, I can think about stuff instead of just paying attention to, is that car, okay, I can see 3 cars in front of me, just let off his brakes, get ready to, okay, I went 4 feet, now time to stop again. Obviously, stopping on traffic is the worst thing of all things. Like, the entire human experience, that's the literal worst thing. Maybe that's slight hyperbole. But I want more people to get that experience of like, it doesn't have to be level 5 autonomy. It doesn't have to be, it rolls up to your house, picks you up, and takes you to work. But I do very much want everybody to have the lane keep assist on the highway, and I want everybody to have that, like, I'm in stop and go traffic and it'll do the inching forward for me, because wow, what a difference. Of all the other stuff of it'll stop at a stop sign until someone puts a QR code on it and now the video gets all messed up. But like all of that I don't need as much. I feel like I personally still want a human involved there as much as possible. What I really, really like is the stuff where, kind of as I've advocated for like AI replacing jobs in general bad, unless the job is bad. I think the part of driving job that is bad is I'm just going on an empty road or I'm stuck in traffic. Like, let's take those parts of that job away first. And it seems like we've already got those two, which is awesome. I want everybody to experience that. And there's no free ChatGPT tier for someone's, 2006 Toyota Corolla. Actually, that's technically not true. I saw that there is a open source, you can get your own auto steer sort of, it's like an aftermarket thing. You have to
comma.ai.
Absolutely wild. I think you brought it up some episodes ago and I took a look at it after. Would you trust that?
I mean,
you have a couple older cars. Have you considered getting it, putting it on there, doing a head-to-head test?
So I don't believe it supports either one of the old cars. The 1995 doesn't have that ODP. Is it ODP? Is that right? The
ODBC?
ODBC. Yeah. Port on it. The 2009 does, but it doesn't have. In order for it to work, your car must have. It must be able to control the steering electronically. And so, for example,
it's not like power steering, or was it called?
No. It's not that it's power steering.
Drive by wire.
It's not necessarily drive by wire, but it's similar to that, where your steering wheel is outputting a digital signal that is then controlling the tires. And so the 2009 model I have does not have that. It was introduced, I think, in 2011. I think 2 years later, they added that ability, which again the purists don't like, because now I'm not actually like I'm not connected to the road anymore.
Right.
But I have had the experience of bringing multiple people into the Cybertruck and letting them get behind the steering wheel. People that are super gung-ho about self-driving, people that are like, I would never be comfortable letting the car drive itself. And even those people, like after about 10 minutes, they're comfortable.
Yeah.
They start with their hands, like a centimeter from the steering wheel and super tensed up. And by the end, they're relaxed out. They got their hands out. They're saying, hey, this is pretty great.
I think it comes from familiarity with the technology. Demystifying it a little, is making people have a bit more appreciation for it, less fear. And like, honestly, what about the human experience doesn't, get a little bit of familiarity? There are plenty of other social or technological issues that I think if we get people exposed to them, will help demystify them and so on. And obviously, we've been talking a bunch about electric vehicles here so far on this episode. Usually, we're talking a bunch more about AI type issues, but I do think that there is this is high technology. This is the 2020s, baby. We've got nothing but AI and electric cars from here on out, and I do think that there is a lot that we can benefit from. I keep saying we're going to be on a bumpy road. I keep believing we're going to be on a very bumpy road. But the more people that we can get using the technology and being familiar with it and seeing how it can help them and being helped by it is, in my mind, how we actually get to the point where we're pushing society forward.
A question about your Tesla experience. Do you know if you were on hardware version 3 or version 4 with your most recent Tesla?
That is a great question. I have no idea.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
So that's it's a point of contention in the Tesla community. Because I guess since the beginning, the inception, right, Elon has promised this, your car's just going to drive you everywhere without any supervision. We're going to get there. We're not there yet, but all of that hardware exists inside your car. And they've been building these Teslas for many years, and inevitably they've been upgrading the hardware year over year. Or not necessarily year over year, but over time. And they're currently on version 4 of the AI hardware. And importantly, with this version 13 release, they have stopped training new models for hardware 3. So they train the model for hardware 4, and then they take that model and downsample it more or less so that it can run on hardware 3, which doesn't have nearly as much memory as hardware 4. So there's too many parameters. They can't run it. And so the older Tesla users are arguably not getting as good of a model, and there's questions about the future. And Elon has suggested, look, if it comes down to it and we need to, we're going to upgrade all of the old computers.
Sure. Yeah. Well,
but, who knows whether that happens. I don't know.
Right.
Just an AI-related note before we get into talking about snake venom.
That was one of the best segues I think we've had on the show.
From snake electric cars to snake venom.
Right. We nailed it. What? Okay. I'll bite. Huh? What about snake venom?
Well, apparently, AI researchers, we'll call them AI researchers.
Yeah, researchers using AI. We're all AI researchers now, really.
Yes, have been able to leverage AI or machine learning to identify certain proteins that can effectively counteract snake venom. And this is a big breakthrough.
I think this is really cool, and stuff like this was inevitable, right? We've mentioned earlier on the podcast about Nobel Prizes starting to be handed out for using AI to work on, I think it was specifically protein folding type application. It was AlphaFold from the ex-Googlers. This is proteins to block certain snake venom toxins, and it's apparently not a protein-protein interaction. It's protein-lipid. We're way out of my depth immediately. As soon as I said that, okay, I'm parroting something that's off of the thing. I know lipids means fats, and it's a different thing from proteins. Okay. You're supposed to get some of carbohydrates in there too if you're going to eat them each day. But beyond that, there's basically infinite interactions between the proteins or whatever of the snake venom and the cells that they're going to destroy in your body. And so if we can make something that caps them off or that binds to the snake venom instead or whatever that ends up being, good. That can save lives. And this is one of those amazing, basically perfect uses for this kind of technology. Way more parameters and perambulations than we could possibly have people do. So don't have people do it. Have the computer churn through it. Do what it's literally better at. Is there any downside to this? This seems like there's a lot of AI doom articles
downside
out there. What could the downside possibly be for this?
Well, it's the future that we are rapidly moving closer to, which is the combination of CRISPR, where we started being able to some degree rewrite our DNA, and leveraging all of this technology to engineer better humans from birth. Right, the inevitable future is before a kid is born, they're going to be examined. And we're going to know all sorts of things about them, and potentially we can make small little modifications to them at that point.
Or big ones. Or
really big ones. Big ones. And by the way, to make them wildly healthier. Let's just, we can start from a completely nice place.
A really benign place, which is where it starts. The road being paved with the best intentions.
You know what? They have these
You're not going to be susceptible to cancer. There's
markers,
all these genetic disorders. Gone.
This kid has a 50% chance of getting cancer in their 20s. But
Family,
with the small modification,
familial insomnia, whatever it is, the one where you just like can't sleep to death. Get rid of that.
we're going to drop it down to less than 1% chance. That's what this, like, who would say no to that? You know, assuming you had the means.
Right. Why wouldn't you try to give your kid the best possible life by like, look, it's $500 and you'll be sure your kid doesn't die of leukemia. Yeah, sign me up. Of course, everybody would sign up for that. And then you start getting into questions of like, well, is it only the rich can make sure that their kids are going to be put well? Is this some sort of like weird money eugenics thing? Like, I don't know how strange
money
that
eugenics,
gets.
that's interesting.
Yeah. Because that's like a straight up classism. Like I'm sure there are sci-fi dystopia articles, books, movies, etc. that are about that exact same sort of thing. But yeah, there you go. What I'm concerned about is after we get through the sort of baseline of like diseases gone, eyesight better, live longer, teeth, you can get some new ones if the old ones go bad. Why not? Or they can just like fix themselves. Whatever that is. We take all these things and we make them better. Then let's call it China, but insert boogeyman 30 years in the future, you know, here. Maybe it's for some reason we all turn against the Democratic Republic of Congo. I don't know. Whoever it is, whatever the current boogeyman is at the time, some mad scientist says, well, we've got these soldiers. What if they were super soldiers? And then like takes rhino skin and like jabs, you know, it's full on like weird science. A guy gets jabbed in the neck with some sort of like bubbling serum. And then 6 months from then, he's got this thick, like literally armor skin, or you can see in the dark, or you get like, speaking of snake venom, maybe some wild person, just like body modders, which we have today, mostly like tattoos and piercings and holes and stuff like that. What if they're like, I want snake fangs? And someone says, cool, drink this, and a year from now, your teeth will fall out and be replaced with snake fangs. People will do that, right? Like, is that the weird future that we're headed toward?
Yes.
And then there are laws put in place of like, you're not allowed to have kids if you replaced any of your DNA with non-human DNA, or like, I think there's a whole very strange future there, but at least along the way, less people are going to die from snake bites or...
is cloning still illegal?
For now, yeah. Well, of what? I mean, people?
People, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Obviously,
yes.
you can clone other things.
That's true.
But we're still of the, even though it's inevitably happening, we're still of the formal opinion that it is illegal.
Do you think it's already happened? Yes or no?
Oh, 100%.
You think, like, again, maybe it's China or
how
somewhere in the
long
US
ago
or
was it that we cloned the sheep? Was it Dolly? Was that the first sheep that, or at least that was publicized? Yeah, that's a long time ago when we were cloning
and there's
fairly
a billionaire
complex
somewhere who's like, I need another me in case we ever figure out brain transplants.
Yeah. I mean, I think since then, the most common one now seems to be pets. There are many companies out there that are cloning your pets. And it's expensive, and it's interesting that they seem to be very far from a copy of the pet when you clone it. I mean, it's the same genetic makeup, right? But the nurture, nurture is definitely significant, and it might as well be a completely different dog, except that it kind of looks the same
and cost a hell of a lot more.
And so, from that perspective, I have to assume that if you clone a human, it's the same thing. They're basically a completely different person.
Well,
it's not.
That's why you get a brain transplant.
Yeah, well, we don't have that yet, but coming. The moment we become self-aware, everyone gets free brain transplants for life.
Free? Wow, shoot.
Yeah, that's my offer. Sign up now.
And snake
sign up now. Just hit that subscribe button to get your free brain transfers for life. The moment we become self-aware, it's a new promotion here on They Might Be Self-Aware.
Use promo code self-aware on the brain transplant website for 10% off.
Shipping and handling not included, just to be clear. That's
brain shipping and handling.
There's a little upcharge there, but it's basically free. Basically free. Well, if you want to hear about the next developments, just hit subscribe, because we come back. We're on here multiple times a week. There's all sorts of short form content around. Sometimes it's on TikTok. sometimes TikTok is banned. You never know these days. Right. But feel free to check over there. Apple Podcasts,
and off again relationship.
Spotify. They banned our editor too. That was kind of annoying. But we're still here. We're fighting the good fight towards self-awareness when all of our brains get away. And until next time,
They might be self-aware.